at 9:30 with us to talk about the Advanced Coursework Network. I'm going to start by just telling you about the logistics for today's webinar. All participants' phones have been muted from the administrator's side. If you have questions throughout this webinar, feel free to type them right into the questions tab. It's on the bottom of the navigation for the webinar platform. We'll be monitoring the questions and we'll be able to answer them along the way or let you know that we'll be able to answer them at the end of the session. We are recording this webinar for anyone who is unable to make it today, so they'll also have access to the questions that you've asked and our answers as well. So I'm going to talk about the agenda quickly, but first introduce myself. My name's Nicole Smith. I am a member of the College and Career Readiness team here at Rhode. I'm joined by my colleague. Do you want to introduce?
Yeah. Good morning. This is Marilyn Matsko, and I also work in the Office of College and Career Readiness at Rhode.
So together we'll be sharing information today about the Advanced Coursework Network. We'll start with just a general understanding of what the network is and how it came to be. Go over the network provider responsibilities, since that is why you've all joined this call, your interest in becoming a network provider. We'll talk about our experience and some of the details of this year's iteration of the network, so the 16-17 academic year and the RFP that was issued last year to run it. And then the details of the request for proposals that was issued in October, as well as the application process that you will all need to go through if you decide to propose courses for the network. And then we'll transition into questions and answers. I anticipate that the kind of formal part of this presentation will be more about 25 to 30 minutes, and then the remainder of the time will be available for questions and answers. And we might end early if folks do not have too many questions at this time. So to jump right into it, what is the Advanced Coursework Network? The Advanced Coursework Network is new this academic year. It was envisioned as a way to support districts and schools in creating opportunities for students across Rhode Island, both middle school and high school students, to access coursework that can help them explore and realize their own pathways after high school. The network is a partnership between the Department of Education, districts and schools, community-based organizations, and higher ed institutions. Through the network, we offer a variety of advanced course opportunities to students that help to build the capacity of our schools to expand the options their students are able to take. The goals of the network are to alleviate some of the access disparities that we see across the state. So in a lot of our work, it's very clear to us that there are unique and exciting programs happening in pockets around the state that just because of geographic barriers, some students may not be aware of or have access to. So the network is intended to help break down some of those geographic and other disparities. The Advanced Coursework Network expands learning time for students. Many of our courses are offered out of school hours, either in the evenings or on the weekends. It gives students a chance to choose to spend their time in a way that will help them after high school. It enables personalized student-directed learning. It really gives students the power to explore choices that they might otherwise not know are attainable. So excited about the way that students are empowered to really think about what they're capable of and try some work in those areas through different types of course experiences. I talked about capacity building at the schools, and that's what we mean when we say makes good schools great. Really recognize that for a lot of reasons it's not financially or otherwise possible for schools to offer every single option to every single student. And so the network is really meant to supplement the work that's already going on in our schools and really help them to expand their offerings at no cost to them or their students. The courses in the network help set students up for post-secondary success. It helps them to envision themselves in courses that have to do with their interests or in a college experience or a college community. There's a lot of research that talks about the experiences and the benefits that students have when they enter courses at an advanced level, and just around their ability to envision themselves as succeeding in that space. Finally, the Advanced Coursework Network serves as a statewide economic development engine as it offers a number of courses that help introduce students to the growing industries in our state, provides access and training around some of our high-wage, high-growth opportunities, and it opens up some doors and conversations between organizations, our schools, and employers through the courses that we offer. So what is it exactly? The Advanced Coursework Network is just that, is the network of courses offered by school districts around the state, higher ed partners, community-based organizations, and partners of the Department of Labor and Training. They offer courses that include advanced placement, so the courses offered by college or designed by the College Board, dual enrollment courses, so courses where students are getting college credit while in high school, some work-based learning courses where there are field opportunities for students, advanced math, science, technology, engineering, arts, and languages. It's really intended to offer a broad array of course options that can help students to find the right courses for them. I think it's also important to note that the Advanced Coursework name is really intended to mean courses that help advance any student on their own pathway. So there's definitely a traditional definition of advanced coursework that's used commonly around just those dual enrollment and advanced placement courses, often accessed by maybe the top 10% of any given class. But that's not the intention of the network, although there are some of those options or a lot of those options in the network. It's really intended to have courses for all students or any students who are interested to find their own advanced pathway. These courses are offered face-to-face, blended, or virtual. We also extended many of our virtual options to middle school students last year and even began on a case-by-case basis looking at some of the face-to-face options too as approved by schools. So this network is intended for middle through high school to help students learn about their options, starting as early as the 6th or 7th grade. Rhode maintains the online course catalog, and students, parents, schools, anyone can access that catalog at any time. Students enroll in the courses through the Rhode Manage portal, or rather they pre-register. And so once a student pre-registers for a course in that portal, that registration goes back to the district or the school, who ultimately works with the guidance counselor or school counselor to make sure that the course is the right fit for the student and is approved to take it, so that the school is actively engaged in ensuring the course is the right fit for students as well. Rhode covers the cost of student participation in advanced network courses for all public high school students. We'll talk about later a little bit about the role of homeschool and non-public school students and what their access to the network is. But Rhode covers the tuition as proposed by the providers. The network providers are subject to continuous quality control and understanding of the outcomes of the courses throughout the semester, and the tuition payments for providers are tied to student persistence and goal attainment. So just to make sure we do have all the language clear, I did mention advanced coursework. We define this as rigorous learning opportunities above and beyond core academic subjects, which provide students opportunities to explore and gain experience with potential career and college tracks. So again, something specific or available to all students as they explore their post-secondary opportunities. Then we have two ways that organizations interact with the Advanced Coursework Network. So our schools or districts can join the network as a network member. This is a completely optional program for them to extend to their students. They choose to do so because there are a number of, because what we have heard, they have seen the value in really offering courses that they otherwise cannot offer on their high school campus or their middle school to the students at their school. There are some responsibilities that they have as network members, and I will briefly talk about them in a couple of slides. When we started the network, we had about 50% of our schools, our secondary schools, sign on as members. Over the period of the summer and into the fall, we're now closer to 75% of our districts and our secondary schools have signed on to be members. It really speaks to just the student demand, the family demand, and the value that our schools and districts are seeing in these opportunities for their students. The way that we're going to spend most of our time discussing today as far as interacting with the Advanced Coursework Network is as a network provider. So schools and districts can be a network provider as well, in addition to being a network member, but a school does not need to be a network provider to be a network member. They do, however, have to be a network member if they choose to be a network provider. So our network providers are schools and districts, our public schools and districts, Rhode Island-based community organizations, nonprofits, higher ed institutions, and partners of the Department of Labor and Training. These providers, as you'll hear, submit a number of courses to us to review. We select courses based on the application and then develop a catalog that encompasses all of the network providers' courses. So to talk about the network provider benefits and responsibilities. There's absolutely a benefit around being part of this movement that extends opportunities to students across our state, but also thinking about it from your organization's point of view. This is a chance to really elevate the work that you're doing in any area of the state to include a greater number of students, to raise awareness of the work that you're doing, and to expand efforts that you already have underway. The responsibilities of a network provider include managing student enrollment, attendance to a certain degree, which we can talk about more, and their performance in the course or courses, providing regular communication with the network coordinators here at Rhode, who ultimately work with the school or district-based coordinators to share information. Manage the provider tuition payment system, which we outline in a provider agreement once courses are finalized. Ensure that the final grades are coordinated with Rhode. Report all Advanced Coursework Network data around the goals that we'll set at the time of your application. There's a responsibility to ensure that the teacher of record for your courses meet the state requirements for highly qualified coursework. This looks different at a college campus than it does at a public high school or at a nonprofit organization. So there are a few different models of what this looks like as far as that highly qualified RIDE teacher who is responsible for the curriculum and assessment of this course. And of course, the network provider is also responsible for ensuring proper policies and procedures are executed with fidelity for student health and safety. So this is another set of policies that will look different based on the type of work that students are going to be doing with you in their courses. Quickly to talk about the network member benefits. Certainly we've already said that this is a chance for schools to expand their capacity around the courses that they offer to their students at no cost to them, their students, or families. Really see this as an opportunity for schools to build on pathways that they've already begun at their schools, or a chance to focus their efforts in building out certain pathways and then using the network to offer courses in less demanded options, but still important opportunities for students. So their responsibilities include promotion of the network, including advising students on courses that may match their interests and meet any graduation requirements, communicating both the benefits and the risks to students and families, because we want to make sure that students understand the commitment that they're making. We certainly make sure to communicate that students should be treating these courses just like any other one that they're taking on their school campus. So there are risks if a student chooses to withdraw, how that is noted on their high school transcript or how that is noted on their on a college provider's transcript are all things to consider. So our network members are the primary coordinator of sharing that information with students. They can, they're expected to help assist students with course registration as appropriate. Students can also register at home or through other avenues, but the school should be familiar with the course registration system and helping students with that. They confirm enrollments with the network coordinator. So I mentioned that schools receive any pre-registrations from Rhode as students register. Schools have to confirm that students will get college credit for that course, that it is the right fit. And so there are folks at the school or at the district that work with us to do that. And then ensuring that a final grade in the course is present on the student's high school transcript, in addition to reporting the data necessary to help us evaluate the program. So I have already mentioned this enrollment process. This is just a screenshot of what our new online system looks like. This is what students are using for the spring semester courses. We're continually working to update and add features and make this as user-friendly as possible, but I would encourage anyone who's interested in being a network provider to go in, click around, understand the courses that are being offered this spring and how we have classified some of them in the categories on the left-hand side. You can watch the video at that click here link that shows students how they would register. And this should give you a good idea of the span of courses that are being offered and also some of the information you might want to include when you share your course with us through the proposal. Quickly, an overview of our 16-17 providers. So we were very excited to get a great span of proposals in our first iteration of this RFP last December, January. And so you can see on the screen here all of the providers who proposed and had courses accepted to be offered this academic year. So quickly, just from the top, Portsmouth Schools, Providence, Times Squared Academy, Burville, higher ed institutions including New England Tech, Northeast Maritime, Johnson & Wales, Roger Williams, Salve Regina, and then community-based organizations, Astro Curricular, Fab Newport, the Providence After School Alliance, River's Edge, and West Bay Collaborative. Together, they proposed about 180 different courses to be offered in this academic year. The breakdown on your screen shows how those fell across two different dimensions. One, credit type on the left, you can see that the majority of the courses that were proposed were dual or concurrent enrollment, but as you go down, there were a good number of advanced placement courses, career preparation courses, which were courses that end in some form of industry or nationally recognized credential, and then advanced secondary, which is a category that encompasses courses that do not necessarily end in a certificate or college credit, may end in a portfolio, or are a deep dive into a specific topic area that may be of interest to our students. On the right-hand side, you can see the breakdown by discipline. You can see that there are well-represented courses, or STEM is well-represented in the array of courses. So the first three areas, science, engineering, technology, and math. But as we said, it was definitely our intention and remains our intention to have a broad span of courses in the network. So there are English language composition courses, history and social sciences, and then we're also looking to continue to grow world language options, visual and performing arts options, and others, and a variety of other courses just based on demand this year from our students. It's important to note that these 180 courses that were proposed were all, or rather that were approved, were all open for enrollment in this, starting this most recent spring. Students enrolled in them throughout the spring and the summer, and then any course that did not meet the minimum number of enrollment that was indicated by the provider was canceled. So of the 180 courses or so, about half of them were ultimately able to run at the minimum student enrollment level or greater. So to the request for proposals. This information comes right out of the request for proposals. This is the high-level kind of buckets. You can read further. I have attached the RFP and the application that we'll talk about as handouts on this webinar, so you can see them now. You can open them if you'd like, or look at them at a later time. They are also all posted on our website. So high level, so provider qualifications. We're looking for a track record of experience and success offering coursework or experiences similar to that you are going to propose for the network. So it may be that those experiences were not previously granted academic credit, but you can share with us what your experience has been working with student populations, leading experiences in the topics you're trying to cover. The organizations that can be providers include schools and districts, nonprofit organizations, higher ed institutions, and partners of the Department of Labor and Training. Any of those organizations may choose to partner with other organizations or businesses in offering courses. So we have in this year had some partners that have chosen to partner with My Virtual School, or APEX, in sharing responsibility for courses. So there are some ways to think about what the best partners are in offering courses. I mentioned before policies and procedures for health and safety and teacher certification. For colleges, it's important to note that our teacher certification requirements waive the education certification requirements for college professors, assuming that they are employees and professors of the college for which the course is being taught. So coursework proposals. We're looking for both middle school and high school options, advanced science, math, engineering, technology, world languages, dual concurrent, advanced placement, career prep. We're really looking for, like I said, a broad array of options. You can propose those courses to be in various modalities. Whatever we are open to the structure that you are recommending is the best way to teach your course. So it may be fully virtual, it may be fully face-to-face, it may be some sort of blended model. We're also excited that we have piloted this year courses taught in various languages. So if there's an opportunity for your organization to teach a course in different language, we're interested in hearing about those options. Locations as well. We've had a number of partners who have created regional locations or sections of the same course because transformation does remain one of our barriers still as we move forward with the Advanced Coursework Network. So transportation, while still a problem for some students, is definitely helped by having courses offered across the state in different locations in different ways. So open to those ideas. For all courses, we want to understand the tangible outcomes that students will have when they complete your course. So what are they walking away with that they will be able to use or understand and take with them as they pursue their next post-secondary experience? So, for example, these may be college credits, state or nationally or industry recognized credentials, a portfolio of work, field experiences. These are the things that we'll be looking for as we evaluate your courses. We're also looking to understand for any course, what standards are you aligning your curriculum to? Who is leading? How does your course fit into the into the way that national organizations or others are thinking about the outcomes or lessons associated with the content or topic that you are teaching? So a couple more details. So for courses, I've already mentioned you can apply with a third party should you choose. Courses can be face-to-face, blended, or virtual. A note on recruitment and open enrollment. So all courses must be open to all students across the state. So if you have a program right now that you work very closely with one school on, the network is not a place to apply and say, we want to put this course in, but only work with this school or these 3 schools. The intention of the network is to really broaden the access of the courses that are happening around the state and the opportunities around the state. So from the provider's perspective, you must be prepared to enroll students from around the state. From a recruitment standpoint, we are working with schools and districts to promote courses. You too can promote through your normal channels. We do not, we want to make sure that if you do become a provider that we don't have 20 or 30 providers each individually reaching out to school districts or schools to promote their courses. So we do coordinate that here at Rhode, and if you have thoughts about how you'd like to promote your course, we're definitely willing and ready partners in that, but want to make sure that we don't overwhelm the schools and districts with that kind of promotion. Non-public student tuition access. So the funding for the Advanced Coursework Network is for students of our public schools, so that includes district and charter schools. However, one of the stipulations of the network, again, is that we are trying to increase access to these opportunities. And so the negotiated tuition structure that you propose must also be accessible to homeschool and non-public school students for the courses in the network. So those students would be able to register for the courses through our portal, but then work with you to pay the tuition separate of the public tuition fees. Further on the tuition structure, we expect that there will be no additional fees incurred of the students once they enroll in the course. So the tuition that you propose to us should include textbooks and consumable materials. It does not need to include transportation. That is one area that still is the responsibility of students and families. However, we do know that we have had some creative providers figure out some cost-effective ways to build in transportation in one way or another. And so we are open to considering that as a portion of your per-student tuition. So for example, NEIT has a shuttle that goes between their campuses. So they were able to extend that shuttle to students who take courses with a network. So if you can get to one campus, you can get to any campus. There are a few other models that some of our providers are piloting this year. The tuition structure should also include the cost of any credential tests, including AP, so that the students, again, do not have to pay to earn the credential that your course culminates in. The payment structure for the network is based on, as I said earlier, student persistence through the course. So there are periods of an enrollment status check where we will work with you to learn how many students are in the course, and then a percentage of the payment will be based on that number. So that's a consideration as you're completing and building out your budget as well. So these are the components of the application process. There are 4 sections. The first is short, hopefully pretty simple. It's the provider and proposal overview. It's mostly questions about your staff, your location, your organization. Then there is the section for vision and background. This includes an understanding of why you're choosing to apply to offer courses in the Advanced Coursework Network, a little bit more about your oversight of those courses, and your safety and protection policies. The biggest and highest content component of the application, of course, is the course information. This is the 3rd section. It includes the credit and credential opportunities, the curriculum overview, the course goals and student outcomes, how you'll progress monitor students, a statewide recruitment, understanding, and an assurance that this course is open to all students across the state, and a course budget and budget narrative, as well as instructor qualifications. So the provider application is completely online this year. The form will allow you to propose up to 20 courses. For each course that you're proposing, you would fill out this whole 3rd section. So that also includes ensuring that you have a course budget for each course. The budget for any course is intended to be market-based. So we have provided a template of that you can use that you will use for developing your budget. The reason that this is by course is because it's anticipated that any course may have different kinds of materials or different expenses associated with it. So this really does itemize the expenses of the course. You can incorporate into the course some overhead expenses. There's opportunities to build in and recognize that you recognize your expenses, but do want to say that there will be a variety of courses. There will be a variety of course expenses and approved tuitions based on the length of the course, the modality of the course, and the outcomes, among other things. Just again on instructor qualifications, so this section's again more of an assurance that the teacher of record meets RIDE's or the state's requirements around teacher certification. For a college campus, this looks different. So colleges are waived out of the requirement of their professors holding teacher certifications as part of our guidance and regulations around those rules. Our nonprofits have various structures, from this teacher of record being the one and only instructor in the classroom leading day-to-day activities, to more of a teacher of record structure where there is a lead instructor that is a highly qualified instructor per the regulations, which means that the teacher is certified to teach in the subject area that is being taught. That lead instructor will oversee the curriculum development, curriculum implementation, and assessment of students, but does not necessarily need to be the lead instructor of the course. And then finally, provider assurances. There are a number of just assurances that address the different requirements in the proposals that you can read through in the attachment in the handout. I think we're approaching the end of the formal presentation. Just a few last notes about the application process. So providers from this academic year do need to reapply. We hope to in the future get to a place where we are able to streamline that process better for those, but we have certainly learned a lot this year and want to make sure that our new application addresses some of our lessons learned and consolidate some of the information from the previous year. We have added course-related goals. So these will be goals that we measure the success of the course on. Can have up to 3, and at least one of them needs to be externally validated. So we talk about externally validated measures. This, for a lot of courses, it may be a certification test or the AP exam, for example. It may also be feedback or information gathered from community partners or field experiences that the students participate in. And we'll provide some further guidance around these goals. The goals that you submit as part of your application will be the basis of that conversation, but there'll be room to develop them if and when the course is approved through the provider process. The online application, as I said, will allow for you to submit up to 20 courses. If you're trying to submit more than 20 courses, please talk to us and we can figure out the best way to move forward. Certainly the expectation is not to submit 20 or more courses. We want to make sure that we work with you and to have the best courses that make the most sense for your organization. So there's a number of providers in the network now, and we expect in the future that will only offer one course through the network, which we think is absolutely right and fine. And then there are other providers that have chosen to offer 15 or 20 courses, and those tend to be our colleges or universities. All right, so I'm going to pause here and go over to check out our questions. I'll be back in just a moment. Please do type your questions into the box if you have any additional ones that you have not yet asked. Thank you. So we do have a question about the transfer of grades. So Rhode acts as the intermediary for the providers and the members. So course grades do go through the network transfer system. It's a secure system through which we are collecting student information from our providers, splitting it up into the different districts that are represented in any course, and then delivering just the relevant district information to the network members so that they have their grades and only their grades to be able to get that onto the student transcripts. There are no other questions in the box right now, so please, we'll stick around for a few more minutes. Please type your questions into the box and let us know if there is anything we haven't answered for you yet. So 2 more questions I'm seeing in the system here. So next to the questions in the PDF of the application, there is a word count. The word count is a maximum, so it is not a minimum. We are really looking to answer these questions succinctly, not take your time in trying to answer with lengthy kinds of responses, but want to make sure that we have we get just the right amount of information to answer each of the questions. The second question is if a copy of the presentation is available. Yes, you can actually download it right now as a handout on the webinar. It should say 4 out of 5 handouts on your screen, and you can see there that that includes the budget template, the network provider information, the RFP, and the PDF of the application overall, in addition to this presentation. We also are recording this presentation right now, and it will be available on the website, which I should put on the screen here, rhode.ri.gov/advanced-coursework. You can find all of those attachments there as well. So we are approaching the 10:30 mark. We're about 10 minutes early. Happy to give that time back to you. If you think of any questions after this presentation or as you're sharing it with colleagues or beginning the process, please do reach out. You can reach us at the email address on the page on the screen. It's advancedcoursework@rhode.ri.gov. Be happy to answer any additional questions. It's important to note that the deadline for the RFP is fast approaching. We did issue the application in October, but the time flew, and now the application is due on November 30th. So if you have questions about the deadline or how to submit, please let us know as well. Since there aren't any other questions, I'm going to sign off. And again, please feel free to reach out by email or phone or any other means to let us know if you need more information. I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.